Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is now time to discuss Liverpool, my beloved Liverpool, and who are they, and a brief history running from 1892 when they were founded all the way up until modern day. And let's just go over it now. So, just let me give you a few nuggets. They were born in 1892, as I said, and as you know, they play at Anfield, their home ground. For those who don't know, that was actually Everton Football Club's home ground to start with. Now, a gentleman named John Holding was Liverpool's first official chairman. Now, he basically, with a group of other guys, was running Everton Football Club, and they played at Anfield. And they basically came into a rent dispute, and basically John Holding said, "You know what, goodbye," and kicked Everton Football Club out of Anfield. And Everton literally went down the road. I'm actually gonna do. You know what I will do? I will pay respects to Everton because literally, I'm not. Yeah, they're rivals, but I'm not going to go on the rivalry. I'm gonna go on to the fact that who are they. So I'm gonna pay them some respect, and I will do a history on Everton because Everton's history actually starts with Liverpool because Liverpool were born out of Everton, if that makes any sense. And again, I will go into that shortly. So I will be doing brief history about Everton Football Club in the coming days. And okay, yeah, I'll wear a blue shirt. I'll wear blue just to respect you Everton fans out there, because I know a few of you will be watching this. I will wear a blue shirt and speak about your club. But let's go back to Liverpool. So Liverpool again, 1892. They were born because of John Holding. He basically formed Liverpool, and obviously couldn't name him Everton, and they were looking for names to name his new club, and he wanted it to be based on the city. He wanted Liverpool Football Club to represent the city of Liverpool, not just the province in Liverpool like Everton. So basically he took over Anfield, and it started there. They all had what, max capacity 2,000 spectators, and that's how Liverpool Football Club were born. So it was rent dispute. And funny enough, if anybody, you can Google this, you could go on Liverpool's official website as well to see Liverpool actually played. Their first two kits were blue and white, and then the next kit was blue and white stripes. And they played for like this for about 7 or 8 years. And when they first were recognised as a football club in the first division in 1906, I believe. So now we're coming to the 19th century. They went to the red, as you see. I'm wearing red. I like red, my favourite colour. So that's how Liverpool were born. That's their first foray into the English First Division. They were actually in the Lancashire League, and they dominated that league, and they were basically they'd done that for recognition. So let's fast forward to, you get to the mid 1900s now, the mid 19th century, and the rivalry with Manchester United start. And what I'll do, I'm going to do a separate video on that, because that's a very interesting how it started, and why the rivalry has just progressed down the years and has intensified. But I'm going to focus on Liverpool now. So if you go from when they were born, Anfield, 2,000 spectators. In 1906, I think that went up to 5,000. And then every decade, you could say, they added until they got to, at one point, they actually got to up there in the 60 to 80,000 capacity. But another snippet of history, because of the Hillsborough disaster in 1980s, in 91, 92, especially when the Premier League came in, most, if not all stadiums had to go all-seater. So their capacity declined to like 44,000. So, so I'll skip forward to the 1980s. But between 1906, when they got into the English Football League, all the way through the 1910s, 1916, 1920, 1930, all of that, they're winning FA Cups, they're winning League Cups, they went for a drought, similar to the one they're going through now. And they have accumulated trophies down the years. So as you know, they've won the first division 18 times. They've now, as of to date, won 6 European championships, the Champion League, 6 European Cups, you could say, and that which is now known as the Champions League. They've won the FA Cup 7 times, the League Cup 8 times, And so they are a successful club, and they recently won the World Club Cup. So the World Club Cup, again, I would definitely do a feature on the history of the World Club Club. Very interesting ties to Brazil and French football. But they won that recently. So as a package, the club is a massive club, and they've got a rich history in football. Another snippet: in the 1940s, 1950s, they were the first team to use attacking fullbacks. Put it up in history. Definitely look back at history. You'll see again. Google it. I'm always going to say Google because a lot of people go to that for their first point of call for information. But yeah, you can Google it. You can go to the Liverpool website. You can go to, there's a lot of websites out there dedicated football fans, and they're put together their history facts. And it is true. If you look at in the 1940s and 50s, they were the first team to use attacking fullbacks, because before it was a back four and the defense stayed as defense, and the midfielders done all the hard work, all the graft. Liverpool were the best of the best in terms of they used the best Irish and Scotsmen, because John Holden was a Scotsman, and obviously he would go to his own, so he had a lot of Scottish players, and then they mixed that with Irish players, and then of course English players. But they've had the best of the best. They've always had the best Scotsmen, the best Irish, the best Englishmen, and the Kenny Dalglish, for instance. He basically, as you know, is a famous Scotsman, but he was one of their best players in history. Fact, definitely one of their best players in history. So Kenny Dalglish, great player, but that's just an example. If you know about his career, he got to the top, winning league titles and European Cups for fun. So that was their benchmark, and they always used the best of the best. They had a great youth policy from the 80s going into the 90s, which they relinquished. So I've been going on for must be going on 6 minutes now. But the point of the matter is, if you want to know about Liverpool Football Club, that's the things you need to be looking at. Look at where they were born. Like I said, 1892 is when they were born. And when you come through for the early days of the league, how they weren't accepted as a football club when they were in the Lancashire League. And there's a lot of politics in there as well. And when you come into the 1950s, 60s and 70s, their rivalry Man United, down the years there's been, and I believe it's still there, you're going to get a very unfair north-south divide. And Liverpool did suffer from that. A lot of the northern clubs did. And Manchester City's breakthrough now as one of the biggest clubs in England, trying to conquer the world now. They've broke through because the north-south divide is slowly dissipating. But the fact of the matter is, the fact that it was still there is sad. But again, Liverpool suffered from that. So did Manchester United. A lot of these clubs did. But again, the more the divide dissipates, is the more these clubs will be successful. But Liverpool Football Club are one of the world's best teams. And depending on who you're speaking to, some people would say they're one of the world's greatest clubs in history. Some will say, no, they're just done in England. But they were actually one of the first teams to dominate in both Europe and at home. First British club to win in Champions League, Celtic, up there in the Scottish Premier League. The first English team to win it, yes, is Manchester United. But the first actual English team to dominate it, British or English team to dominate the European Cup, which it was known back then until about 1995 when it got called the Champions League, was Liverpool. They, as you know, they've got it 6 times. They held the record of having it 5 times up to 2005. They won it for the 5th time. Hence the song, We Won It 5 times. And obviously winning it with Klopp in 2019 for the 6th time shows their dominance, their hold on the European Cup. In the all-time table, they're 4th. Real Madrid winning it 13 times, I believe. AC Milan winning it, 8 times? 7 times, sorry. Actually, the 7th time being when they won it in 2007 against Liverpool. So, and then, Liverpool are 3rd on that table with winning it 6 times. With Barcelona in 5th, Ajax in 5th, and then, you go down the table. Not a dig at Manchester United, but they've only won it 3 times. So the reason why the massive debate would happen between Liverpool and Man United fans would literally be because Liverpool won it 6 times, right? And they've only won the league 18 times. Manchester United have won the championship, the top tier championship, 20 times. So they've won the old division, first division, of something like 7 or 8 times, and they've won. They've won that 7 times, and they've won the Premier League 13 times. But they've only returned 3 Champions League trophies. I will definitely speak about that in the Liverpool-Manchester United rivalry, because right now, if you speak to any Manchester United fan, they'll say they're still the biggest club in England. When right now, that would stand as a debate between Liverpool and Manchester City, because of where Liverpool are right now. They are back to where they belong. And to quote a famous quote from Alex Ferguson, sorry guys, Sir Alex Ferguson, he said he's one of his first goals was to knock Liverpool off their perch, which he actually did. You've got to give him that respect. Liverpool now back on their perch because they're now winning things again. And this is what the key thing about football is, guys. Love it or like it or lump it, love it or hate it. Liverpool Football Club wins stuff. And for your club to be deemed successful, you need to be winning stuff. And Liverpool are now winning everything they contest. So they're reigning world and European champions. They're European Super Cup champions. They look like they're going to win the English Premier League for the first time, which is another shock. You've not won the Premier League. It's been here since 1992. And when I speak about the Premier League and how it came about, I'll explain why Man United monopolised it for so long and why teams like Liverpool and Arsenal and Everton fell behind. And there's a different accumulative event that happened that kind of starts with Liverpool in the 80s, the Heysel disaster against Juventus in Europe, and then the Hillsborough disaster in the FA Cup. They had a massive impact on why English clubs were banned in Europe. Another thing I'll definitely discuss in its own subject. They were banned from Europe and English clubs falling behind, and then the old first division having to basically, it's still there. The first division is still there. It's called the Championship. But when the Premier League came in, why it impacted Liverpool, why it impacted Arsenal and Everton, because in the 80s, they were the 3 clubs that were doing it. Arsenal were known as a cup team because they were just winning FA Cups all over the place, and they were challenging for the league title. Obviously, their famous 1989 victory being the end of their decade, the end of a decade of dominance for Liverpool. So 1992, just to touch on it, and I'll go in more detail in another video. In 1992, the Premier League was born, and it was based on finance. So the Premier League are a business commodity. They nothing to do with football beforehand, but they took over, and they're basically a business, and they done a deal with the FA, and they created the Premier League, and money was the factor here. Because even then, European clubs were dominating the Champions League. There's a lot of revenue going into Europe. The Italian league had an explosion. If everyone remembers, between 94 and 1999, the Italian had a massive explosion. Where the Premier League is at now is where the Italian league was. So all the money was going towards Italy. AC Milan, Juventus, AC Milan winning Champions Leagues, and they were the dominant force in world football. Dutch football had its day, like, the Ajax and Feyenoord rivalries. So all of these different factors is why the Premier League was born. And if you go into history, you'll see. How does that impact Liverpool? Liverpool did not jump on the boat. They did not get on the bus in 1992 with you. And again, I'll go into more detail about that, actually, because I'm kind of coming off what the actual subject matter is, which is Liverpool Football Club. Liverpool Football Club have a big place in history of football, in English football and world football. And I'm not saying it again. I'm not saying that because I love my beloved Liverpool. It's fact. Anybody that wants to look at the history of football, just to let you know, right now as it stands, if you really, really want to be honest with yourself as a football fan, yeah, Real Madrid are the history's best club, by far. One of the world's biggest club, by far, by finance, by success. Then you have Barcelona. Simple as that. Again, I will be speaking about Barcelona Football Club, how they were born, why they're so successful, why I like them along with Liverpool. Further on the list, a lot of people would debate. Some people will place Ajax, some people will place Liverpool, people will place Juventus. I will place Liverpool, right? But then, why? you have to look at what they've won down the years. You'll get certain quarters bringing Rangers and Celtic into it, because in terms of trophies won, I believe right now, I think as a British club, I think Rangers top that. I think Rangers top it by 2 or 3 trophies compared to Celtic. And if you were to go, like, if you're going to come down the list and how many trophies each club have won, you'll find Liverpool and Man United Lincolnshire somewhere in 4th and 5th, believe it or not. Yes. So, Liverpool Football Club, significant. They will be, if you're talking about the world's best, if you're talking about British top club, if you're talking about best clubs in history, they will always be in the top 5. And that's when you bring in Brazilian clubs. That's when you bring in Argentinian clubs. That's when you bring in the Spanish, the French, and the German clubs. You know, the Bayern Munich, the Borussia Dortmunds, the Feyenoord, and not Feyenoord, Frankfurt, and all these clubs. You know, and Bayern Leverkusen, all these different clubs. When you bring the German, Spanish, French league into the British league and you start discussing the best of all time, you will find Liverpool in the top 3, top 5. You will find people want to bring Man United into it, but you're going to be honest with yourself. Liverpool, Manchester United, their rivalry is what brings Man United into it. But Manchester United would be top 6, top 7. Because of their history, yes. But they would not be top 3, top 5. Another discussion. I mean, there's going to be loads of discussions anyway. But let's wrap this up. I mean, 16 minutes in now. Liverpool Football Club. That's their history. Their history, again, they are a historic club and they're still doing it. And it's significant on how they are doing it. So this is Liverpool part 1. We're going to have another discussion. It's clear there's a lot more to discuss about Liverpool. And I'll go in depth about, I'm looking at it on my screen here right now. Go in depth about 1906 when it was Burnley, I believe, they beat to win the FA Cup. I'll double check that as a historical fact. Or maybe I need to readdress that. But yes, that's basically going to address 1892, 1906. 1910, all these different historical dates, because these are stuff that happened in Liverpool's history that made them what they are today. So if you really want to know about Liverpool Football Club, you've got to go back about 100 years to understand why they are such a dominant force today. So listen, 17 minutes now. Listen, thank you for listening. I've spoken a lot, I've said a lot, there's a lot to digest. Please watch the video, like, comment, hit the notification bell. Need your support. And I will be back for part 2 later on today. Take care of yourself and I will see you soon.